what DFC has to offer for the agriculture sector. But before I talk about what we offer for farmers, I will want to introduce myself and tell you what DFC is about. First of all, well, my name is Jeanclaude. I think some of you guys know me already. I am from somewhere in Africa, but I happen to be in Belize at this time. DFC is known as the Development Finance Corporation. Is the only development bank that exists in Belize. A development bank, for some, may not be easy to differentiate between a commercial bank and a development bank. But I'm going to tell you what are the specific differences between a development bank and a commercial bank. First of all, DFC is state-owned. It means owned by the government of Belize. But something special is that our board is controlled by the private sector. It means we have a majority private sector on the board. This is for governance and accountability purposes. DFC doesn't accept deposit from our customers. We raise our funding from equity, or we borrow from other financial institutions to be able to lend to Belizeans. DFC provide a wide range of services except accepting deposit. Among the services we provide credit for any type of businesses, including agriculture. We finance housing. We finance also education. So our major sectors is the private sector, which promote the development of the country in a whole. The housing for those who don't have a house, want to own a house for the first time, we have allocation for that. And we also finance education, because as Belizeans know, education empowers a nation. Now, going to what we are and what we are in the community, I will want to highlight that as a socially responsible institution, DFC has a very important consideration for gender. One of our main strategic goals for these years is to mainstream gender in every single activities that we carry out in the country. From lending, from technical support, we want to make sure that females, mostly those single women, are being taken in consideration. We want to make sure these youth, at-risk youth, are being taken in consideration. So gender is being a very critical point for our activities, our development lending activities. The next aspect I want to highlight is the climate change. Climate change now has become our business. In every activity we are promoting at this time, we want to make sure whatever we finance is climate resilient. We are promoting climate resiliency from agriculture to housing to infrastructure to every kind of activities we are financing. Traditionally, DFC was simply to finance agriculture, education, and housing. Most of the people will call you, will ask you DFC when they want they are thinking about their housing loan. But DFC has evolved over time. We are moving, not abandoning our traditional sector, but consolidating them by also incorporating those other aspects that are very important for the sustainable development and the stability of the Belizean economy. A next aspect that currently we have embraced is to ensure that the Belizean economy doesn't fall down during economic crisis or financial crisis. DFC is the only institution that will continue lending even during a recession. No matter how bad the situation, DFC is that institution that will come and try to bring things up again, try to revive the economic activities again. So in a few words, we take more risk than any other institution in the country. Actually, we take all the risk because DFC is the one that bridged the gaps, the market gap, when some other institution don't want to lend. So you will find us lending to businesses or projects that nobody else want to lend. And one of the things that make it this possible is our flexibility with regard to the requirement, and our flexibility also with regard to the type of people we approach. For you to get a loan from a commercial bank, you're gonna need to have a bank account with them, or your salary has to be assigned to them. So DFC is the only bank where you're gonna go without any job, without any bank account, without any money in your account. But because you have a good idea, a good business idea, we are able to listen to you, to understand your project, and be able to finance it. Now, with this, of course, it comes with some conditions and requirements. Because DFC takes risk, we have to analyze and evaluate everything we do. Not because we want to restrict people from accessing loan, but we want to help people to deal with businesses in a more responsible manner. So DFC does not mind spending a day or a time with you, analyzing your business or your business plan to see if it will work. We do not charge for that. And part of what differentiates DFC from other banks is other services we provide besides lending money. DFC does not only lend you money. DFC also provide technical assistance. Technical assistance first in the business planning. Many people will come to us just with an idea. I want to start growing tomato in a greenhouse, but I have never done it before. Of course, we're gonna have to ask, so how will you do it? What is the skills? Oh, he may say, my son just graduated from the agriculture school, so he wants to start a business. But those people may not have the financial or the economic knowledge to be able to build a business plan. So, unlike other commercial bank, when you go to ask for a loan, they'll ask you, get a business plan, bring us your business plan. DFC will help you build the business plan along with you, and this at zero cost. When we consider that you need further technical assistance, we have partnership with other institutions such as Beltrade, with whom you can go through different trainings, receive that guidance in preparing your business plan, so that when you come to us, you will be ready and you will understand your business a little bit better. But beside all that, doing business with DFC means having lower or no cost of doing business. Because one of the challenges in Belize for people who want to start a business is the cost of doing it. You go to a commercial bank. If I go to a commercial bank right now, I tell them I want to start my farm. First thing that I say, do we have a collateral? Yes, I have a house. I have a house in Dangrega. Do you have a property valuation? I have to get it. How much cost a property valuation? You have to go to look for those valuers. They're going to charge you money. And sometimes they charge you money to do the valuation. When you take it to the bank, you still do not qualify. So you spent money and didn't qualify. At DFC, we do not ask you to do that. We will do the valuation for you. One of the things you will find with DFC is that we have our best trained officers. Every single officer at DFC is trained to do all what I just mentioned. They will do the business plan along with you. They will do the property valuation for you at no charge. So, now you're going to ask me, who qualifies then? Who qualifies to get this loan? Everything I say sounds like privilege. Is true? Yes, it is a privilege. First of all, for those who are in Belize, you should congratulate yourself for being a Belizean, because Belize is the only country in this region where you can have this easy access of support and financing. I have traveled in the region. I have not found this these facilities in the region, in other countries, Central America or the Caribbean. So, for you to qualify for these loans, you have to be Belizean. Does it sound correct? No, you can also be a Belizean resident. You don't have to be Belizean. If you are from any country in the world and you have residency in Belize, you can have access to financing with us. Or it can be a company registered in Belize with Belizean majority shareholdings. So again, if you come from the United States, you start your company, and when we check the books, the majority shareholder is a Belizean, you are qualified, you are eligible to apply. That is the eligibility to apply. Now, after you apply, we have to assess to see if you qualify. Now, what do we look for when we analyze loan to qualify? Number one, which is universal and most important, we want to finance people with good character. We don't want to finance malpagos. So the first thing we're going to check, malpagos means people who do not pay, who don't like to pay their liabilities. So we want good character. So if you come to borrow to DFC, we want to ensure we are welcoming good people. All Belizeans are good, but then they are not good payers. So we want to make sure we are selective in this process. Number two, we want to ensure that the project you want to start is financially feasible. That is why I told you we help you analyze the project. Your project may be excellent, may be beautiful, may be handsome, but if the numbers do not add up, we will tell you don't take the risk because you will lose. And it will be bad for you and it will be bad for us. So if it is not financially feasible, we recommend you or either to revisit the strategies or you do something more feasible. So that is number two. Number three, we want that the business you're gonna start, it has a capable and skilled management team. Again, you may have a very good project, but if the people who are gonna manage this project don't have the capability, the skills that are needed, it will not help. Again, it doesn't mean that we're gonna tell you go back home, you cannot get the loan. That is when we recommend you to get those trainings. We're gonna recommend you some trainings and go through the trainings and you have access to the loans. And finally, there is a collateral. Even though we are flexible, there is always something that we call collateral or security of the loan. For the security of the loan, DFC is able to give you a loan up to 15,000 without a real estate collateral. It means from 0 to 7,500, you can have one person to sign for you. In Belize, they call him a co-signer. We call him a guarantor. So you need one guarantor to get a loan up to 7,500. Then you need two guarantors to get a loan from 7,500 to 15,000. Now, why do we do this? It is because we know small businesses, small farmers do not have real estate to offer as collateral. And that is why we have made provision for this segment of people to be able to do business without having to have a collateral. Now, once you go above 15,000, that is where we require that you have a real estate as collateral. Okay? These are the key requirements for you to access a loan at DFC. Now, you may ask me now, why should we go to DFC? I think I have so many privileges. But as you're gonna go along, you will realize that once you apply, you get your loan and your loan get approved. From the time you start implementing the project, DFC is gonna be along with you. Just as we were along with you to plan and analyze the project, how it is gonna work, when you start implementing, we're gonna be along with you. We will be visiting you. If you say you're gonna plant a corn, you're gonna plow the land, you're gonna plant the seed. After you plant, we're gonna pass by to see if you had an issue after planting. And when things go bad, especially in this climate change time, when there is drought, there is flood, there is any unforeseen circumstances, that is when you wish to be with DFC. Because only DFC will understand you. Only DFC will visit you and say, oh, what happened? Well, I just got flooded, I lost all my crop. Even though DFC was holding your property, we're not gonna go on radio and say we have a property for sale. No, DFC will come along with you and say, how do you think we can solve this? How do you think we can turn this around? Then sometimes DFC will find ways along with you to see how you can revive your business and be able to pay your loan in the future. So in a few words, DFC is the bank that works with you and works for you. I am not sure if you have a question, but I try to summarize what I had to discuss. I would have wished to use this screen presentation, but it seemed that the environment is not that appropriate to make this slide show. But I think the most important is that the people who are around, they look like to be experienced business people. I saw this man many years ago. I have been seeing him doing a lot of business. He has been very involved in sustainable development of the South. And I know Nalido is doing wonderful things in Toledo. Belize City is coming up, and there's still much more opportunities, especially for the youth. We hope that we can have some support in the district. Yes, my brother.
Okay, so I have a small 5-acre property that I call my farm that I've been working on, and I want to go into something in secret for now. But I don't want to use that farm as collateral, that property. Can I use another property somewhere else as collateral?
Yes, you can do that. Yes, ma'am.
It's not in my name.
Yes, you can do that if the person accepted to put it for you. Yes. If it is in your brother's or sister's name, that person has to authorize for you to use it as collateral and sign what we call a surety commitment. Yes, sir.
Do you invest? Do you do equity investment with farmers? Like if I need 10,000 and it's a good project, DFC would invest with me?
It will have been a very good idea, but I think if we try to do that, we will find ourselves in a lot of business that we will not be able to have control over. So we still believe that by lending with the money, it's another way of equity financing, you know. The only thing you do not pay as dividend, you pay as interest. So just as you will say you have your project for 10,000, maybe you have 2,000 for yourself and you need an investor for 8,000, we can lend you the 8,000, which will have been just as equity. But in this case, you will not pay as dividend, you will pay as interest. So, in a few words, we do not do equity investment into businesses, but we help people to find, to raise that amount that they need for their business to start. Yes, ma'am.
Questions. The interest rate, is it prime plus
All right, let me comment on the interest rate. First of all, I want to say that in overall, DFC interest rate is not the lowest. If you are looking at for the lowest interest rate, DFC may not be your best choice, but for the agriculture sector, we are the best. So if your investment is going to be for agriculture, There's nobody else who's going to give you a lower interest rate in agriculture better than DFC. I can guarantee that. Not only in Belize, the entire Central America plus Latin America, nobody is going to give you a lower interest rate for agriculture. And I will explain to you why. You remember earlier I told you that the DFC as a development bank will take higher risk. Banks, for them to determine what interest rate they give to people, it's based on the level of the risk that the business involves. And the agriculture is the highest risk that you're going to find everywhere you go in the world. So because of that, I was going to give you an idea of the financing options that exist in Belize. We have like 6 or 7 options for financing any business project. You got commercial banks, you got insurance companies who have excess of cash that will want to lend it. You have credit unions who collect money from the members, they get saving from members and they lend to your own members. You have other money lenders, you have quick loans, you have quick cash. And you also have international financial institutions that operate in Belize. But none of these ones is willing to invest in agriculture. And if anyone, a few commercial banks that I know, some credit union, if they are ever willing to invest in agriculture, the first thing they're going to have to mitigate the risk. And one of the way they do it is to give you a higher interest rate. There are other restrictions. From my view is that it is very hard to qualify in those banks because all the rules they're going to put you, you don't get them. I'm telling you because I have personally tried to apply for a loan one time and never qualified. So interest rate for agriculture, DFC, you're going to get the best. In Belize, in Central America, in Latin America, I think only the United States and Canada can beat us. Now for the other sectors like housing, you may not find the best. We don't have the best interest rate for housing. But the benefit you get by doing business with DFC will justify why you should choose DFC. We mentioned forbearance when the situation are bad. Just as agriculture can go bad because of the bad weather, also people can lose their job after they get their mortgage loans. And the only bank, I think all of you read the newspaper, you can tell me how many times you find DFC on the newspaper. It's very few. But when you open these big pages, you find, I don't want to mention the names of the bank, you're going to say I am bad-mouthing some people, but this is to show you that DFC is not into selling people's property or foreclosing people. We always understand situation. That is why it is always better. And beside this, there are other technicalities that commercial banks use that very few people understand. For instance, the difference between what we call nominal interest rate and effective interest rate, very few people know that. You can come to me, I can tell you, I give you 5% over the next 20 years. But after the 10 years you have been paying the loan, you will realize you have been paying more than 20%. So it depends on how they calculate their interest rate, what other fees are involved, because all the banks has their hidden fees. As you go and you check your account, you're going to find some $4 gone, $5 gone, you don't know why for it. But it keeps going, and after a certain time of paying the loan, you will realize it is getting nowhere. And most of the bank, when you go to them, they're going to tell you, okay, we understand you are having a hard time, we're going to refinance it. This refinancing at the bank is a whole is a way to cheat you again. We're going to tell you we refinance it, so it's become a new loan again, but you're going to pay very high fees, and the interest rate is going to change. So I have many very good friends who have been paying the loans for 10, 15 years, and the loan has not moved. Unfortunately, when they come to us, it is too late because the level where they are, even by putting the 100% of what they make per month, it still doesn't pay the loan. So that is where the banks end up selling properties. And we do not do that at DFC.
So what's the interest rate?
Interest rate at DFC will vary somewhere between 10 and 12%. Yes, for agricultural loans.
I heard it say that they have going to give for 13.
We used to have loans at 8%, and let me clarify also. When we determine interest rate, now it is going to be different from a commercial bank and DFC, because a commercial bank is going to be based on the risk, and it's going to be based on how much money they want to make. As I mentioned earlier, DFC get money from other institutions. So if we get money from the European Union today, they're going to tell us this money is for this specific sector, and we are giving you at this interest rate. So based on that interest rate, we're going to calculate how much we spend to send all our officers in the field, and then the interest rate will stay there. So we used to have loans at 8%, and we still do for some special program. I think just to mention a few, we still have the cacao program at 8%, even though they are not performing, because we have interest in promoting that sector, and we have interest in promoting development in that region specifically. So we run an extra mile because we want that community to come up a little bit more. We have a program at 6%, and that is the renewable energy. If you have any project that involves renewable energy, either solar installation, either saving energy, even saving water, rainwater harvesting, all these projects can be financed at a preferential interest rate of 6%. So these are specific programs that get specific interest rate because they are like a priority for our economy and for our sustainable development. So DFC is a development bank. Whatever we do is development oriented. We are not into making money to say we want to make a profit on this or on that. We're going to determine interest rate on this sector or on this program because it costs us so much to get the money, and we have interest in this sector to be to develop a little bit more. So yes, we have loans at 6%. We have loans at 8%. We had a program that I think finished like a year ago. That was at 8.5%. So it depends on which program is there. It depends on the sector and it depends on the program. We have different programs and we have different sectors. So each program and each sector qualify a different interest rate.
So if we get blended interest rate, like part of it is renewable energy, that at 6, what the difference would be?
Yes, a good point from my brother. Let's say you have a larger project, you have a larger investment that include a part that is included renewable energy component and another one that is just a regular capital investment. You may get two different interest rates, so that in the end the blended interest rate may be a little bit lower.
For the smaller loans where you said use a guarantor, what are the qualifications for using a guarantor?
Okay, excellent question. He's asking what do we look at to check if the guarantor will qualify. Okay, for the guarantor now to qualify, we come from one principle. The principle is that a guarantor is somebody who will say, if Mark Miller doesn't pay, I will pay the loan. So for me to be able to say that, I should show the capacity to pay that loan. Because indirectly you are saying, if Mark Miller doesn't pay, I pay the loan. So what we assess is that that person's income is sufficient to pay this loan in case of unforeseen circumstances.
And does the guarantor have to be Belizean?
Can be Belizean and can be Belizean resident.
The guarantor cannot be overseas?
If it is not Belizean resident, it will not be possible. I have to explain myself, right? Yes, because Belize, just as in any other country, we cannot enforce anything beyond our borders. So if somebody is a guarantor from Canada, if that person is saying, well, I don't know anything about that, we cannot do anything because it is beyond our borders. So but if the person is already established in Belize, we're gonna say, oh, this person is from here. Yes, yes ma'am.
For you, suppose you don't need a guarantor, how much is the most you can be allowed if you don't have a guarantor, or if you don't have a guarantor?
You mean how much you can get without any guarantor, without any real estate, without anything? At this point,
With the DFC
yes.
helping.
At this point, it will not be possible.
Okay.
It used to be possible. It used to be possible 2 years ago.
Okay.
You used to get 5,000 without anything. But unfortunately, people do not behave. So, because of those who didn't do good in the past, we have removed that facility. Yes, ma'am.
How powerful is your underlying objectives of development and gender and environment and climate resiliency and all that? So if it's her and him at night, say he's a bit older.
Yes.
Yeah, because now he's part of the.
Yes.
So do women have a better opportunity?
Yes. The fact that there is a woman in that project, we will give her special consideration.
Also,
And how about you, young people?
Well, it's the same thing, no? If the project equally has, let's say, would guarantee employment for an increased number of women, that project also would be favorable under our gender mainstreaming. It's not only finite to women, though. It's equally for young people, both male and female, if they are at higher risk. Let's say in Belize City, if they live in higher risk areas or so, they're given preferential consideration. If rural areas too, for poverty alleviation, we equally have higher considerations because that all of this meets our targets.
So you've got a chart and you're going tick, tick,
In the
okay.
assessment of the project,
Yeah,
all
so-
these elements are taken
Yeah,
into
so
consideration.
So you're going, okay, just men, 1 point. Women and children.
Women, which you see, yeah,
Something like that?
single mothers.
No, I don't. I feel bad for the boys.
It is not that a rigid metric that we are using. It's just because there is a presence of women and there presence of youth that could be at risk. We give it a special consideration.
There's some things to that, Don. I can point out. No? There's some things to that. It's actually, this was information was provided to us by a business consultant who we got on board to give us assessments for us to see additional opportunities. So he noted that globally, when you give women money to run a business versus you give men to run a business, the women are more successful at running a business. And he says that is statistically true. No? And equally they take ownership, responsibility, and they don't behave bad like what he says, they pay back their loan. So there's factual or concrete measures to what we do. No?
I hope men don't take it as a discrimination, right? We are not discriminating, as you see. These are men presenting, it's not female presenting. Yes, sir.
Two things. One, basically, I work with small farmers like that, cooperative department. And generally, if we would ask you what projects you have under X category percentage, right? You don't get that feedback. I think that one of those things that will be beneficial to people is that whenever you advertise that you line up exactly what is it that you have. For example, that go to the fields, what the rate when you have on the chicken project, under beekeeping, under cattle development, under forestry under this, so that then we can have an array of what you can finance, and so that the farmer can get a choice or can make a choice at the ending of the day. My second contribution is this. I think somebody asked, what is the line or the break-even or the threshold to probably access resources without compromising or committing any asset or other type of resource to DFC. I look at it from this perspective because if I go to DFC, they want to know who your great-great-great-great-granny was. And post a state plan, so that by the time DFC is ready to finance, the concept, the idea, and even the heart is already there. However, when you look at some of your immediate competitors, and I have a tendency to see what is out there, and these low charts are going every day at 24, 25, 50% interest rate. And some of these farmers, all they want is give it 50, even if I have to pay back 100. I score them the moment, that is what they want. So what I wanted to ask was that, or have you seen a reduction in the amount of people applying for agricultural development programs, loans? Or probably that same consultant would have said, look at the loan charts, try to eliminate them.
I like your 2 points that you just made, you know. First of all, I guess you are from the cooperative department, and I know you have a better, more contact with the farmers than we do. One thing is that whenever we advertise, we try our best to be as customized as possible to make sure if we are going to make our presentation to the cattle growers, we give them all the details. Just to update you, over the last 3 or 4 years, what we have been doing is actually to look at specific sector. For instance, we have a good program, a good cattle program, which we have run in the south, and I consider that has been a successful one. We have run a cacao program which has not done so well. There are still things to fix, but as I told you, we are a development bank. We have not abandoned them. We are about to solve it, and I'm looking for the next six months for you to see them running business again. We do look at, for instance, do we have all a bunch of vegetable growers? We have a lot of them. So we look at the different sector, and whenever we approach them, yes, we are always specific. What maybe we have not been able to do with those TV advertisements, those radio advertisements, maybe we have not been as detailed as possible. And in that instances, we do try to partner with people like you guys who have more connection with the farmers. At DFC, that the other aspect we promote, partnership, working together with the other institution, so that, because yes, we promote development, but we cannot reach everywhere. So we do partner with the Ministry of Agriculture. We should touch base more with the cooperative department, and I think we can achieve it. Now, let me come to the timing and interest rate. You remember what I told you from the beginning? DFC does not oblige people. We don't make people to have account with us, and we do not have your information by the time you apply. So when you come to apply, let's give an example at Scotiabank, for instance. Scotiabank already has your account. They know how much you make every month. So this is a type of loan when, with a phone call, you can get the loan because they already have your information. But when you come to DFC, we have to start from zero. We have to ask the basic questions. We need to know, we need to get your job letter, we need to get your pay slip, how much you make, how much you pay the loans, and so on. So that is the difference between their timing and our timing. Now, whether we have lost farmers, I would not say so. Each year we have been growing. Our agriculture portfolio is the largest around 40 millions. Our overall productive sector is over 60% of our portfolio. Maybe it is not that we have lost the agriculture sector. Maybe we have not been able to reach to all those we could reach, because based on what you say, is because it means that we could do better. And that is what we are trying to do. We know that we have those limitations with the timing because we have to research everything from zero. But as the brother mentioned a few minutes ago, we are having some consultancies. We are working to find ways to do business faster and better. And this is, I believe it will have more impact.
I can give one additional insight to that, and he just touched on it on his last point, where because we're constantly evolving, or so I can tell you right now, it's being considered DFC to how we can actually streamline or small loans, no? In actually even internally segregating our own operations, where we will have actually a specialized, let's say, a department, a head manager that will deal exclusively with small loans, because small loans, while they make up a small portion of a portfolio, they take up a lot of your resources in terms of your manpower and time investment, etc. So we're actually going to streamline. So there are things that DFC are doing to try to address, because I mean, small farmers make up they represent, they're vital to our to Belize's long-term development as well, no? So there are things that we are looking at to try to address that.
I'm intrigued by the word youth. I'm past my youth, as you can notice, but are we doing anything, or how much are we doing for young people? I do know, I think you do, that the agriculture farming population is an aging population. It's getting older and older at the average level. We have a youth at risk problem in Belize, especially in a city, Belize City, and other areas like that. What are we doing proactively, not only verbally, as a development plan? Get people involved in small business, in agriculture. You still have farming involved now. Is there some kind of active movement at the DFC to get younger people involved, not only in agriculture, although that is the one I know you're trying to move, but small business, small industry?
Very good question. First of all, DFC has been always have the youth at heart. And as you say, one of the challenges we have already found out is that the agriculture, the local farmers, those smallholder farmers, mostly are old people. Sorry, I have forgotten to mention that we have actually an age limit in lending. We do not lend people above 70. And once you are above 60, you have to borrow along with a younger person.
Well, that's for succession.
For succession purposes. So, talking about in general, until 2 years ago, I will have said we did not have a policy that obliges or guide us as to how can we involve the youth, how can we involve the women into the economic development of Belize. And this has been, I would say it has been lacking. But for the last 2 years, with our new strategic plan, when we talk about youth at risk, or at risk youth, as they say, this is becoming our priority. That we do not have much action on the ground, I will concede, yes, we do not have much presence on the ground, but we are heading there. Now, from personal experience, yes, we have tried. I have personally interacted with several young people. And I think I forgot to mention also, DFC is the only institution that finances startup business. Startup business means when you just started, you have never owned a business before. And when you go to other bank, they will ask you, show me your record for the last 2 years. If you don't have them, you'll get the loan. At DFC, we have been trying to work with young people either in agriculture and other small businesses. Some of them have succeeded. I personally have good friends who are in the 20s who own a business with over 300,000 assets that grown from zero. I am proud to know that. I know young people who have been motivated to invest in the farm. I will not tell you the numbers at this time, but I know we have motivated some of them to do it. But I think the way is still long. We still have a long way to go. And that is where we are heading. And this is why you see me here. That's why you see my friend Hippolyto here. We were expecting actually to meet young people. Unfortunately, we have one or two. But we wish we could reach out to them. Mom, yes?
I really recommend that you partner with DYS, Department of Youth Services, that I came to work with. They have great access to youth and youth at risk, especially in the city. And they can help you access and talk to those young people they need to.
That's a very good point. A very good point. In the past, we have partnered with Beltrade. I think everybody knows Beltrade. And what Beltrade has been doing for us is when somebody will approach with a few ideas, starting to talk, what we do, we will send them to them. We make a list and send them to Beltrade. Beltrade has a big base in Belize City where they provide training in different areas. And they have been trying to help them, those young people, to build up business plan. And when they finish business plan, they will send them to us, and they will try to see how to help them. But I will not say this has been 100% effective. We need to find other strategies, and to be truthful, those ideas, and I think as soon as I finish, I will take note and take them up. Those ideas are very good, and we are willing to take them, because in the end, you guys know better than us. We just have that willingness to do it, but sometimes we do not reach all the corners.
May I suggest that you look very seriously at the IT vets across the country and see how you can partner with them and invest in the young people who are in those courses?
Correct. Definitely. So we again, part of we actually had a special program. Again, we had received financing via CDB. I think it was CDB 7, Consolidated Line of Finance, and part of that was for a special education program that actually was, I think, less than or 8%. Yes. It was less than or 8%, and they were, even when it came to having to have guarantors or so, it was even lax. So one, I think the role that we would play in it, and the main thing that what we do is to provide financing, no? What we're talking about here is partnership. So it's not something, I think, where DFC would go it alone, like what you're saying, partnering with that same special education program. That was in last year, I believe. We went out to all the IT vets, right? And I told them about the program, and they took it up. I think it's about 60% of that financing that we had gotten went to these special education needs via the IT vet. But I understand what you're saying. But I just want to say that it's not I think something where while DFC is capacitating itself to help in those areas, it's not something exclusively done by DFC. It has to be partnership with, I think, government institutions responsible for those areas, as well as even private sector interests who might want to become involved. No. Mm-hmm.
I think we are already over time. We are already past our time. I want to, just before we close, I want to highlight that special education program we still have it going. If you know some young people who have not been able to continue school because of the financial conditions, please recommend them. We still have that program going on. It is at a lower interest rate, and the requirements are a little bit more flexible. Right now I pass you my business card, and you have my contact. And thank you very much for your attention. It has been a wonderful conversation, and thank you for all the recommendations.